welcome back to the channel. We are back with another video for HTML course for beginners from basic to advanced. So in our previous videos we had seen about the form tag and the type attribute of the form tag, what all you can write in the type attribute of the form tag. We have almost seen about the single line inputs of this type attribute. The things that we had seen in our previous thing is type text. Then we had seen about the password, tell, color picker, file, and some other things. In our today's video, we are going to see about the checkboxes. In our today's video, we are going to see about the checkboxes. Then we are going to see about the radio buttons, select boxes, file we have seen, custom buttons, submit buttons, and reset buttons. So these will be the content of today's video and also the text area that we have not seen in the previous video. So let us start, and we are going to see a small example as well for how to create a particular form. So let us start. Here we are with our index.html. I'm also going to open the preview tab so that whatever we are going to write, it is just going to show us in the preview tab. First of all, we have our HTML basic file or a basic document that you can say, that is HTML5. And then here inside our body, to write any kind of forms, we just have to open the form tag first. So this is the form. So let us start about the checkboxes. Check the subject you want to learn. And now to add the checkboxes, I'm just going to use my input tag. With that input tag type, you can see the checkbox here. Just click on the checkbox and you're good to go. And whatever value you want to give for the checkbox, you can either add it inside the value tag or you can just write it after. I'll just add the value here as physics, and this will be the checkbox for physics. In case if you want these checkboxes in the next line, all you have to do is just add a break tag and you will have it down. After this checkbox also, if you want to continue in the same line, you can just continue the input tag, or if you don't want to continue in the same tag, then you can just write it with a BR tag. I'm just going to continue it. Copy this, paste. Second one will be chemistry. I'll just add it as biology. Just going to add it. I'll save it. Now we can see the checkboxes that are there. There is one more attribute which you can use is checked attribute, wherein every time this particular attribute where you're going to write it, in which field you're going to write it, that will be always checked for you. And if you want some space in between these checkboxes, you have one more code here, a small code. You need to write ampersand NBSP. This is a non-breakable space. That is, the space will be added. How many NBSPs you're going to add, that many number of spaces will be left for you guys. NBSP again. Now we can see that 2 units of space is left. So in the same way, if you don't want to leave the lines and if you want to add it in the same line but with certain space, then you just have to use ampersand NBSP. This is non-breakable space. So this was about the checkbox. Next, let us see about the radio buttons. I'll just add choose your gender. When you're going to work with the radio buttons, there's a small trick here. Always the name here in this radio button, the name plays a very important significance, because whenever you're going to write a radio button, always the name should be the same for all the input tags. You may ask me why it has to be the same. Let's write this for others. Now, whenever you're going to choose the male, the other two cannot be chosen. Whenever you're going to check on female, it should automatically remove the selection of the male. Either you have to choose for the male or you have to choose for the female. You cannot choose both together. If it is both together, then if you're going to belong to any LGBT communities, then you just have to choose for the others. All right. This is how the mechanism of your radio button works. Whereas the mechanism of your check button, if you're going to check for all, then also it is fine, because checkbox is to check multiple items, whereas your radio button is to check a particular selection that you're going to select here. Here the name plays an important role. Here also you have to add the name because it has to get connected with the backend. Even if you're not going to add the value, it is okay, but you need to write with the names. This was for the checkbox and the radio buttons. Next, let us see the select field. Select field, or you can also say that it is a drop down button. Let's add for the select button, or also you can say it as a drop down menu. First of all, I'll just give choose the color, select name equal to color, and I'll close the select. So inside the select you have one more tag which is called as the option tag, which has to be used to write down the options for your content. Value, I'll just give it as red, and here I'll give red. In the same way, I can also give the other values. Save. Now whenever you are going to click on this, now you can see that there is a drop down of items wherein you can select that particular item for your page. And here you can also add a one more value, that is size. If I'm going to give the size as 3, in this particular checkbox you will already have these three items in the start. So if you just give here 4, you can choose whichever you want from this particular check. If you don't want the drop down, this is also an option. If you want 2, then you can add these 2, and by default it will be just 1 which will be displaying for you in this place. Okay, if you don't want this size to be added but you want all these to be displayed, then you can use one more attribute, that is a multiple attribute, where you're going to add this multiple attribute. It is going to display you all the options that are there inside that particular area. This was about the select tag. Just like this select tag, you also have one more tag which is called as the data list tag, which is going to act just same like this select tag, but it is a bit more advanced than the select tag. That is, okay, let us see this data list. So all you have to use data list. Then for this data list, inside this data list, again the options. I'm just going to add the same thing here. Choose the subject. Choose the subject. Here you are going to choose one subject. Okay, value, physics, and here inside this option I'll add physics. In the same way, you can use multiple datas. Okay, this is how you are going to write the data list. Now, if you have to see here, there's no drop down menu. There is nothing that is being displaying here. There is a small twist in writing this data list. With this data list, all you have to do is you also have to write your input tag. With this input type, you always write with the type attribute, but here now you have another attribute that is called as list attribute. Now inside this list attribute, I'm just going to write the value for this list attribute as a subject. Now whatever subject I have written here, you need to write it here as an ID. ID is equals to subject. Now once when you're going to write the id is equals to subject and save it, now you can see one box has been appeared here, type field has been appeared, and with an arrow mark. When you're just going to click on this arrow mark, it is going to display you with the contents. Now let us see all these in our live server. So once when you're going to open in your live server, now you can hover on this. Now we can see physics, chemistry, biology, and math are there. Physics, if you want to choose on physics, why it is giving me physics is because I have written a small p here in the value section and a capital P in the normal section. So when you're going to see this, the physics is also with a single one. Whatever value that you're going to list out, those names will be displayed here inside this data list. If you want to add, okay, if you want to add the placeholder, then you need to add it here inside this input tag. If you're going to add it inside your data list, then it is not going to take. So these are the subjects that I have added. So once you're going to choose this subjects, the drop down is going to appear for you guys, and you can choose any of the subject that you want. So this was about the data list attribute. Then there is one more input tag which is called as the range tag. There is one more input type that we have for this form, that is the range. So I'll just be adding the input type range. You can see here. So here it is going to set the range whatever you want. If you are setting any range in your particular form, then you can use this range type. Then you also have input. You also have the submit type, submit button. So it is going to give you a default. It is going to give you a default submit button here. That is, once when you're going to click on submit, all the data that are there, it is going to go back to your database, to your backend, and then with your database. You just click on submit. Now you can see inside this URL, you're going to see what all you have clicked and what all you have chosen. And you also have one more thing that is called as input type reset button. Once when you're going to just click on reset, everything will be reset. Whatever you choose will be reset. Now you can just see math, chemistry, pink, and subject can here. I'll be choosing biology. And if I'm just going to reset it, now you can see that it is automatically going to reset. These are the default buttons which already have certain backend scripting, which does not need any backend scripting to be written. These are submit and reset buttons. With this submit and reset button, if you want to add any of the other button or any of the customized button that you want, you can just add here as button, and inside this button you just have to give the name for that particular button. So this is an option, or you can just, you have to give the value here for this button like this, or you also have another option of giving it directly as a button tag. So button open, button close. So this is how you can use your customized buttons for your particular page. With this, let us create one simple example for this forms. Let us create a simple example. First we need to add the HTML5. Inside this HTML5, I'll be changing the title as register form. So once when you're going to register something, you're just going to use this form. Here is one more tag that is called as the action tag. This action tag, you have to add the backend tag where you are going to add all your data to it. For now we don't have any action tag, so I'm just going to add it as hash. And then here you have another one that is called as get, that is called as the method. This method has a get method and post method. If you're posting some things into your database, then you need to add the post method. If you're going to get something from your database, then you're going to use the get method. Now I'm posting something into the database because it's a registration form. First, when you're going to register, everything will be added inside the database, right? So for that, we are going to use this post method. Again, inside this, we are going to add. So this will be the basic and the simple one. We are going to use all the tags that we are there. Label. Then you have an attribute which is called as the for attribute. Here this for is going to specify for what you are going to use this. I'm going to use this for this. I mean, for what thing you are going to use this label. So that is for the name, I'm going to use this label tag. So I'm just going to add name here. Name. And then I had also told you, so this will be the label. The name. The next will be your input. So for this input, I'm going to use a text field because this is for the name. So I'm going to use the text, and then name. This is for your backend, whatever you are going to use. Then you need to add the name field. So I'm just going to give the name as name itself in this. If you want to add the placeholder, you can also add the placeholder saying name. then there is a one more attribute that is there, which is the required attribute. This is the basic validation that you are going to add for any of your tags. So this is one type of add one field that we have written here. For this field, I'm just going to add two BR so that there is sufficient amount of space left between two fields. In the same way, I'm just going to copy this one and I'll paste it over here. I want three fields. So the second one will be for the email. You can use email here. This will be for the email. And in the place of name, let's write it as email. And then here in the text format, here also you have the type is equals to email, wherein whatever email that you are going to add, that will be given to your backend. And also change the placeholder email. And this is also the mandatory field that I want. Next one will be the password. If you have to set the password for password, and I'll change this name also as password. And here, as you know, we have also the password type and name I'm just going to give as a pass1. And here the placeholder will be password again. And this field is also mandatory and it is required. Next one, I'm going to use it for a confirm the password. Confirm password. And the name also I'll give it as confirm password. Type is it will be equal to password and the name I'll give it as password. Placeholder again it will be as confirm the password and this field is also required. So this will be your name, email, password and confirm password field. With this, if you want to add the date of birth of that particular person, you can use date of birth field. You can also use it with the label tag again. There's no there's nothing that you have to use it with the label tag or without, but the good practice is that you're going to use it with the label tag with the for attribute and then the input tag. I'm just going to show it here for you roughly. Date of birth is equals to type and inside this type I'm just going to use date. Here you can choose the date of birth of that particular person. If you want to add any files, or I'll just give add or upload your CV. And inside this upload, I'm going to give an input file for type file. So here's how you're going to add the file. Again, the two BR tags here for the better adding. If you want to choose your gender, just going to add choose your gender. All you have to use is input field, type is equals to radio button, name is equals to gender. And here first one will be male. With the same inputs, I'm just going to copy this, paste and paste, and I'm going to add two BR tags. Here you'll be having the female, and here you have others. Save it. So this is your basic form. The main thing that you have to add here are the buttons. So we have two buttons which do not require any type of validation or any type of backend script. So I'm just going to use the submit button and also the reset button. Save this. I'll be adding one more BR for this. Save it again. And now when you want to bind this form together, or if you want some outline to it, you have one thing that is called as field set at tag. So once when you're going to open your form tag, you have to add it inside your form tag, and before your form tag ends, you need to close that field set. Now you can see one square is being added to your particular form. With this field set tag, inside this field tag, you have another tag which is called as the legend tag. You can give any content to this legend tag. Say for example, I have register. Save. Now you can see that this register is being added here in the top left corner. If you want that inside in the middle, then you also have the center attribute. You can use this center attribute to add it inside inside this particular square box. If you don't want this register, then this is by default the particular styling of this legend tag and the field set tag. Now let us open this in live server. So this is the register, how you are going to see this, how this is going to be shown here. Now first I'm going to add the name as Rohit, and then the email will be chaiti@gmail.com, and the password whatever you want to set, that will be the password, and the confirm password, mail. The date of birth, you can choose anything here. If you want, you can choose any file. This is not mandatory, so I'm not gonna just choose the file. I'll just add submit just to show you how it is going to work. When I'm going to click submit, now we can see that the action button that we have given here is hash. Now this page isn't working. Why? Because there is no hash that we have given. There is no backend scripting that we have given. If you have any .java page or .jsp page or any .ruby .php page, you can use it inside this particular action. Now since we don't have this, I'm just going to remove this action and this post. So that's just to show you how it is going to how these are going to get fetched to the backend. These are all the data that I have added. I'm just going to give it as submit. Now you can see that the fields which are mandatory, or for the fields which we have added required attribute, if you're not going to fill them out, it is going to ask you to fill them again. So now you can see I have filled it. Now I'm going to give the submit button. Again, okay, we have not saved it here. I'm again going to open it inside the live server. Now you can see name Rohit, email rohit@gmail.com, password and confirm password, mail, date of birth. Okay, I'll just give it as submit. So once I'm going to use submit, now here you can see inside my URL that whatever data I have given for this is being showing here. For the name, you can see it is being given as Rohit, and for the email, this you can see these things that are there, these are the names of that particular attribute. For that particular name attribute, we have given the name, right? So you can see for this name attribute it is small name. Now you can see it is name and Rohit. For the email, so it is just email. So now you can see it is email here. And for the password, it is pass1 that I have given 112345, and the password or the confirm password that you can say. Now you can see for this password I have given it as pass1, and for this confirm password I have given the name as password. So in that particular field, it is going to go and store in that particular database field or in that particular database column. Now we can see that there is password field here, and this password and this password, they are not matching. To match these two passwords, so that if the passwords are not matching, it should not get submitted. For that you need to write the validation for JavaScript that we are going to do in some other videos. And now next you have the reset button. I just want to show you the reset button as well. Now whatever the data that are there that I have added, these data, if I just click on the reset button, then they are just going to get it reset. It is not going to store, it is just going to give the reset content here. So this is a basic example of a form. Try these forms yourself. Try creating a login form. Try creating some other forms to register with some other fields and some other attributes and tags. I wish you all the best for learning these passwords. Meet you again in the next video with some more concepts of HTML. Till then, keep learning and stay tuned. Bye bye.